For over the last 2 decades, X Games has delivered mind-blowing and blood-pumping moments for fans and athletes around the world.
Are you kidding me?
1260 at the X Games.
Showcasing skateboarding, BMX, and freestyle motocross.
I don't believe what I have seen.
Now the world's best prepare to come together once again this summer in Ventura, California.
Look how focused he is right there. That is incredible.
We gathered icons from X Games past, present, and future.
This is gonna get gnarly. I could see the obsession in your eyes, the same obsession that I had. We had some great battles.
To tell us what it means to be part of the X Games legacy.
It's like kind of this magical zone where if you're good at what you do, everyone wants to see you succeed.
This is how the big dogs live.
What it takes to win.
Respectfully, I want to beat you guys on your best day. You've been in the game 13 years. You got 13 medals. Go do it again.
And how the X Games have shaped their lives and the sports they love.
Let's make some noise!
My first X Games experience, I think, was 2007. I remember me and Dennis came and we were just like little rats at this point. We came and we were just like, dude, there's all this free stuff and like, there's just like all these action sports heroes. Like, oh, here's Chris Cole, here's Travis Pastrana, here's Dave Muir, and we're just like, dude, this is catered by Taco Bell. Like, this is the best thing ever. It was really surreal, like riding a contest that big. That was one of the first times ever being intimidated by the amount of people watching me ride. I was like, whoa, this is different.
What I remember from the first X Games was a lot of experimentation in terms of which sports belong in this setting, under this umbrella of extreme. We didn't even know if we belonged in it because we never heard that word before. There were so many random sports: sky surfing, eco challenge, rock climbing, bungee jumping. It was just kind of like, how did we fit into all this? Through the years and through the evolution of X Games, those sort of random outside sports and activities just kind of fell by the wayside, and we got the ones that were the more core, which is skateboarding, BMX, freestyle motocross. Those are the ones that stuck. But the first ones, like that first X Games, was just, it was kind of a show.
X Games was wild. I got the badge that said athlete, and I was giggling, looking around at all the guys that at the time definitely weren't athletes, in my opinion.
When I went into X Games, I felt the exact same. I'm like, oh, I got an X Games lanyard, and I can actually hang out now with like that backstage with the athletes.
Ryan Williams ready to get it going.
Before I was invited, I was having to try sneak in everywhere, but to actually be accepted and be invited to X Games was a crazy feeling.
He told me he was gonna do that one.
I watched the X Games movie and it was like so raw, you know, and I was like, that's the sickest. I need to be there one day. I just remember getting like my first invite, and it was like my mom's email. It wasn't even my email. It was like, what? You know, it was like a dream come true. It was like, I felt like like you said, you made it. It was like our Super Bowl. When I got there, it was like, holy, you're meeting all these like legendary drivers, moto, mega, skate.
My first was nuts, dude. I was just stoked to be at X Games and like hyped. And then my runs just worked out.
Youngest competitor this year's X Games.
And at that point, I didn't think anything of it because I was still a kid. Like, I had just turned 13. I didn't even know what level I was at, man. I figured I had to put in so much work in skateboarding that I wouldn't be ready until I was 21. So, like, turning pro at 13 was very unexpected.
Little Jagger 8 is on.
The only reason I got an invite to X Games was because my brother got injured 6 months before then. So my brother, Jet, earned that invite to go to X Games Mega 2012 and then got injured. I remember having Jet by my side, like, this is your time now.
Oh, backside all you daddy.
That was a big deal for me. That was kind of set everything in motion.
Were you doing backflips, or am I just like making that up in my head?
No,
over
that
the
was,
mega ramp?
that was my
your
first
trick, huh?
mega run.
That was your trick?
Yeah, it was backflip over the 75.
There it is.
I remember watching you. You were a lot smaller skating the mega ramp, and it was like baffling to me. But I knew at that point that you were gonna be a problem in skateboarding, for sure, in the best way.
He got it. Oh, it's such a good landing.
There is no doubt that to make the podium at the X Games, you have to bring your best to beat the best. And as that level of competition and challenge of the courses continued to grow at the X Games, what it takes to win has progressed along with it.
On course right now, Daniel Dares, who's taken gold in this event 4 times in years past.
Daniel Dares, like, he's inspired me to have that mentality. Go in there and do your best and put everything down.
He was in the early stage of like when we had a proper park, and then transitioning that into the bull riding now to ride with skaters and everything, and watching him like just adapt to that was like, okay, this is awesome.
He does fantastic stuff on the deep end.
For me, being there amongst it all was like surreal. Like the whole beginning to end was like, damn.
We got Mr. Kevin Peraza on the course.
Year after year, you think it's reached this limit, but like someone comes out with something new, or thanks to everything Van Homan did, you're here, you know, and everything you did in park riding, you influenced a whole new generation of kids to take their brakes off and ride park riding in a different way. And so just the way of what freestyle is, I think, has progressed the sport year after year.
Every day, we trying to set a new goal and accomplish that goal. If our mindset it continues to be this strong, it just almost makes it intimidating to the next gen. Or motivating,
because they got these kids keeping me on my toes for sure.
Other people is what gets me going.
Yeah.
I see someone do something new, but then I see that it's done differently than what I would do it, so I'll put my own flavor on it and be like, oh, if I did it like this, it's crazy to see where it's gone. Progression is also admired. I love to see someone be like, dude, what you're doing is crazy, and that makes me want to push to the next step. Like, all right, well, you think that's crazy, I got something else that I think is crazy. Let's see if I land it.
Oh, man, it actually hit the rafters. The building is not big enough.
You almost took the roof home with you.
Yeah, I did. That is one of the craziest crashes I've ever seen.
One of the craziest crashes.
It's such a bad crash, but then you just like, how you knew where you were and how casually you just slid out of it, I was like, dude, he's different.
Yeah.
He's different.
But that's the first time I've ever seen anyone in this building get hung up in the rafters with their bike.
I don't think anyone else would really be able to hit it.
A few guys were getting close, and I was like, dude.
Yeah.
The level, this is small for us now, you know? Like, we're getting so good.
In a 900, are you kidding me?
There's
that double backflip.
Watching how your riding has progressed over your life. Like, I remember you doing 540 whip down whips and like, you were like doing the most gnarly quarter pipe stuff.
Just butters that one around right there.
I didn't have a skate park growing up, and so we made it happen. My dad built jumps in the backyard, and I think Garrett was on the same page, and then you got to ride the Incline Club, and so your riding completely changed, you know, and pushing yourself. I think, like, not only are you mentally getting stronger, but you're doing something you enjoy every day, which keeps you mentally happy too, which is awesome.
And every time you go out and ride, you're like spiking your adrenaline and just making yourself feel good, and you set a goal and you like achieve that goal.
You're chasing this free high of things that seem impossible that you've seen in videos or take from videos and
like
grow from, you know?
Never-ending puzzle of things you're trying to plug in to keep it going, and each piece you plug in makes it funner.
Hi, my name's Travis Pastrana. I'm 15 years old. I like motorcycles. Want to go riding?
First X Games, 99, I was still in, I was 8 years old, I think.
How old were you in 99?
In 99, I would have been 5 years old.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Coming into the X Games, I'm 15 years old. Like, all I had ever focused on was racing dirt bikes, but I was always a showman.
That is it.
Like, my heart told me, hit the big jumps, have fun, do tricks. And then that just, it blew up. I mean, that was Tony Hawk's 900 that year, 99.
Are you kidding me?
I feel like if you say, oh, I don't want to do that kind of stuff, then you're just putting walls up that shouldn't even exist. Why put the boundaries up? If it's on a scooter, I dream it up and then I do it, and then I go, if I do it on a BMX bike, sure can. Has anyone done it? No? Okay, I'll do it in a contest.
Going for a little bit of history. And it is the front flip flare as well.
Yeah, it's worked out really well for me, so that's kind of been my style.
X Games, summer, music, and you.
That's right. Fans are back at X Games this summer. Be part of 3 action-filled days in sunny Ventura, California. The best in BMX, skateboard, Moto X, and music. Right on the beach, July 21st through 23rd.
From Tony Hawk's 900 in 1999 to the modern-day dominance of Jimmy Wilkins' 5 consecutive skateboarding vert gold medals, the passion and commitment it takes to thrive at X Games creates an unbreakable bond for all skaters who compete.
Yeah, I don't know how I've won anything.
There's a new generation of vert skaters, you know, Jimmy Wilkins he's leading the charge now.
It's cool because like it's already such a surreal experience what you're doing, and you get to share it with like your best friends.
And with that, Jimmy becomes the youngest ever to have 2 vert gold medals.
It's not a surprise to me that he's won 5 X Games gold vert. His tricks are among the hardest, and the tricks that he chooses to do consistently or in runs are tricks that most of us can only hope to do once or twice in our lifetime.
Jimmy Wilkins closes it with another gold medal, the 3rd of his X Games career, going back to back.
You just got to remember, like, well, I was there with my friends, and that's what
me and my friend always say is like a joking way, like I'm just happy to be here, but like actually just happy to be here.
Yeah.
What a moment for the Columbus kid, earning the first ever X Games Chiba gold medal. Liam Pace, in his X Games debut, will win his first ever X Games gold medal.
That's a crazy one, because watching X Games on TV is what pretty much got me into skateboarding, and living that moment of, oh, I'm competing in X Games, and holy shit, I just won X Games. It didn't feel real for like 3 months. I would just kind of see the medal and be like, oh yeah, that happened. Like, your mind kind of blanks out.
Simply put, Gary, from the moment Liam dropped in, the skating got elevated.
Yeah, if you seen that angle on that wall ride, he brought the wow.
It's really cool to win a contest, but that's not why I skate. I skate to skate and see what I can
for sure
land and roll away from on my little wooden toy.
Yeah. Was that your first X Games?
It was my first pro X Games, yeah.
Yeah. It's probably crazy going from the Vikings arena to like...
That was crazy because that was my first X Games experience, was getting to do the AM one.
Which was like the biggest thing, like it's the most massive arena.
You're skating a park next to a 40-foot moto ramp, and
Oh,
you can see the mega ramp in the background.
And it feels like really X Games, like you're at the event and it's a big thing and there's all these people.
What are we doing?
I mean, that's why like Ventura's gonna be exciting because it's gonna be like the experience of like the stadium motocross and all that, but still in California.
Congratulations again to Liam Pace. And here is the youngest skateboarder in our field, 13-year-old Kokono Harake.
I feel like there's been so much come out for vert and park, whether it's contests or footage, and when I was a kid, I would watch that stuff and I would go straight to the skate park and start trying it. And eventually, if you do that enough, and especially out here where all these kids have the tools to do that, they can just learn how to do it, and then you're just sitting there like, huh, what's next?
There is one skater running the show right now in skateboard vert, and it's this 13-year-old.
Especially in vert skating, I think with the rungs getting shorter, it let the field get younger. Like I remember when they were 45 seconds long when I was like 12, it was just a nightmare. And then they shortened them up to like 11 walls, and I can do like a 7 and one other crazy trick and try like a 900. And that's a whole run all of a sudden. You didn't need the 18 walls, strong legs, you know, charisma in the ramp. You didn't need a personality. Yeah, seriously.
Here's Bryce Wetstein.
The youth, it's just like younger and younger and younger, but also it's because there's more happening. There's more people being inspired by each other.
There we see 11-year-old Sky Brown.
She has so much pop for such a little person.
And then there's more, of course, there's like more friendships, I feel like, being made with everyone, because now, like, it's not, you can't be too old or too young to have a friendship. You just like meet someone and you're like good friends no matter how old you are.
Yeah.
And then you influence each other and it just becomes like a collaboration with skating.
It's so crazy. This podium's average age is 16.3.
Come on.
I think the mega ramp was great for skating, especially at the time. It just brought something fresh into the sport, and it was just this like amazing spectacle.
When you show like a concrete bowl or even the biggest dirt jump, when you're looking at it on a TV set and you're not a BMX rider or not even
doesn't
in
do
action
justice,
sports,
you know,
doesn't
but-
do it justice.
But the mega ramp.
Even mega ramp though, you gotta be able to see it in person.
I live and breathe BMX every day of my life, and I didn't even want to watch that contest. It was so gnarly, and the progression of those last mega ramp contests they did were so insane. Like, it was like, this is where BMX is headed. Like, this is scary, but this is so exciting, you know?
When Danny Way kind of showed us what was possible in a big ramp, where it was like, hey, you have this much extra airtime, you can probably spin more or do much more complicated stuff, or do the highest airs we've ever seen. That shifted something in skateboarding and shifted the type of people that were getting involved, because kids that were interested in maybe skating ramps were suddenly like, no, I want to fly. I want to fly 20 feet. I want to learn how to spin more than anyone's ever spun before. And that changed the landscape of what's possible. We saw it evolve through the X Games. When it was first in the X Games, and then when you look at the years after it, and the kind of tricks that kept happening, the NBDs that were happening, the evolution, I mean, it was amazing.
I think my favorite part about mega ramp was watching like Travis Pastrana do a double backflip, and then skateboarding having something that parallels that insanity, you know, and sometimes street or even vert, it's just not gonna do that in a bar in whatever city in the US.
There goes that man.
Skateboarding had something that was as crazy as the FMX stuff to go right alongside it, and the names to match, the Danny Way and Bob Burnquist. Man, these guys are so sick.
Watching like Danny and Bob skate Mega, and like just like the stories of X Games where it's like Danny broke his ankle on the second run on Mega and he's got to go back up and tape it and stuff, and
Got
like
an epidural
Yeah.
mid-run and is back up there looking crazy. We're like, hey, buckle your helmet, bro. He's like, huh?
Oh no. He's got it!
I literally love to watch Mega Ramp. I always thought it was like a really fun event to watch, but I can't even relate with it. It's just like a different thing. It's so crazy.
That's so out of this
clammy
world
hands
for us.
thinking about it.
Yeah.
To go out there and like do my biggest 540, that was pretty cool. I'm not pushing that anymore. You're not gonna catch me on that ramp anymore.
Never before in history competition have we seen a 900.
Tony Hawk, I was so confused when all of his competitors are cheering on Tony Hawk.
900! 900! Oh!
It's 15, 20 minutes after competition, and they're still like wanting him to land this trick. I was like, what, competition's over? Like, you won.
So close.
Oh my God, he is gonna do it. That's it, he's gonna do it. I just saw it in his eyes. That is surreal.
And no, they're like still wishing that Tony could land something that's never been done before.
Oh, let's see it. Come on.
And it's that place that's like kind of this magical zone where if you're good at what you do and you're passionate at what you do, everyone wants to see you succeed, because it's not like racing. It's not crossing a finish line. It's, let's see if someone can do something that's never been done.
I would get off the couch.
It was one of those things that happened is a memorable moment. It was like Tony Hawk's 900. It stuck with X Games forever.
It's a replay that's still there today.
For me, the double backflip was something that, I remember watching Dave Mira. I skipped my practice at X Games in San Francisco to watch freaking Miracle Boy, Dave Mira, double backflip in practice. I was watching the BMX for all like this inspiration, and I was like, I'm gonna try it on a dirt bike. And I tried it in the foam pit, and I was buried. I was pretzeled, gas was pouring on me, I'm claustrophobic, and I remember being more upset that it came around so close, and I'm like, now I gotta do it. The pressure and the magnitude of X Games it's so much crazier than anything you could possibly feel. And all of your friends, all of your family, it's live on TV. Heck, my double backflip, my grandma and all of their friends in the senior center are watching X Games. And it's like, man, like that's a lot. My mom's crying, it's wild.
Here's a guy who has actually landed a front flip. 19-year-old Jackson Strong from Australia. First time ever at the X Games.
It didn't matter for me like how well the run was put together. X Games was about doing something never been done before. And like you are the staple of best trick.
I feel like I've got a really good ability to might just be my IQ score, but a really good ability to switch my brain off when the time comes. There's a love-hate relationship. As soon as the helmet goes on, I feel like the brain switches off or it switches into a different dimension and everything's got a little bit of clarity about it. And then afterwards, that's what makes sense. When I get in that situation, I just try and remember I've just got to compete with myself. I'm there to do something that I want to do, not look at the competition, the bright lights, anything else. I'm here because I want to do this trick, and that's what we're doing.
Ridiculous. Jacko.
We do what we do because we absolutely love it, and there's no money in the world worth putting your life on the line, but I would pay everything that I've ever made to be able to have that experience. And the X Games is the one place that you can share your passion all the time, all the work, all the effort. It's where everyone else stands up and says, that's cool.
Style and progression have always been the core DNA of X Games. And nowhere is this on display more than the best trick competitions, where barriers are broken and the balance between risk and reward is on display.
The skaters that I was influenced at from a young age I like Tony and Bob, a lot. I think the era that me and Mitchie were part of, of that, the golden era vert generation, they had a big attitude of you don't do what the other guy's doing. We were all told that, it's you don't bite other people's stuff.
To the heel flip Indy 720.
There's certain aspects of people that I think you have to learn from, energy in the ramp kind of thing. But that's not so much being oh, he kickflip Indy from him, and then take his favorite, take all the heel flip Indy 3 from PLG, and you don't just do one of everyone's best trick and end up being the best at it. It just doesn't work.
Mitchie Brusco taking over the top spot. Mitchie Brusco right out the gate comes swinging.
Wow, that happened.
I don't even want to ask what was all those feelings that you were feeling and all that, but I have to say, watching you come up, whenever I notice you land something, you can feel it. I can feel it.
This could be it. Oh, a little low on the landing, but he's got it. Oh my gosh! Mitchie just lands the... What is going on?
Okay. Mitchie Brusco goes where no person has gone before.
For the 12, it was just, oddly, I knew I had such a good chance to do it, but if it goes wrong, it's really wrong. It's not you're just bummed you didn't make it.
Oh my gosh, man.
If you put wheels down and you land too low or over rotate or hang it, and it's just do that.
I can't imagine, I'm not even gonna imagine.
He's got it. Oh my gosh! What? Yeah, there, now.
I just knew that, I wanted to put a lid on it as quickly as I could. Thank God, because that was the last Mega Ramp contest in
Oh my.
Yeah, what a nightmare that would have been.
Yeah.
It's almost like I would have never had another chance the same, so. Well, that's a great way to cap off Mega Ramp. Yeah, I mean, RIP.
X Games, summer, music, and you. That's right. Fans are back at X Games this summer in sunny Ventura, California, July 21st through 23rd.
X Games moved to Los Angeles, California in the summer of 2003. And the arrival of competitions at real street spots attracted the best core skaters in the game, like Nyjah Huston.
When the X Games was in LA, when it was in downtown LA, it was a big deal. It was full-blown Hollywood. Movie stars, musicians, all that, you know.
So it's 12:05, and there's still no sign of the guy who is basically the poster child of skateboarding for the X Games.
I didn't realize I was that late. I don't remember being that late to the X Games, but I guess I was. You know, the day before was my friend Aaron's wedding. Who knows what, like, it was definitely a fun night. Had to get up early, fly home. Went to the X Games and skated. It's like going to like a demo, trying to just land some tricks, get the crowd hyped, and whatever happens, happens. And I just happened to win.
Nyjah Huston with a lucky run.
A lot of pressure. I was that poster boy. I was on that building across from Staples. It was pretty cool to be up there because it's always been either Laker or a Laker player related, usually, that has the funds to bless the side of Hotel Figueroa, but they asked me to do it. All I had to do was just switch flip over the 405. It was actually a kick flip. When I finally went in there and saw it, I was like, oh, even better, I'm switch flipping the 405. The reason why I wanted to compete in the X Games is I saw the first one, and I remember seeing the coverage of it and going, you know, I might try this next year, and I did. I went to the next one. And then from that point on, I feel like I went to most of them. X Games was the biggest contest. It was huge, huge. You know, they'd be taking over different parts of cities and arenas everywhere and all that, you know, it was massive. I don't know what we're doing, going, like, reviewing all this past tape. I'm looking forward to the next one. Looking forward to decorating myself with another medal.
Was that the 10-minute jam format? Was that what it was? I think
so. Yeah, they had like 3 different 10-minute jams.
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
Sick. Jams are sick. Like,
bro,
just
I don't got the
clock.
same number jams, bro.
But jams is like contests got to bring jams back.
And it was so fun, like, being a part of those jams.
Ryan Sheckler, the young buck, 14 years old.
To be skating with Bastion and Reynolds and like all of these heavy hitters, dude. I was starstruck to the point of like, I would watch P-Rod skate and do his tricks, and then like, I found myself not skating in the jam because I was just watching, you know? And I was like, oh man, no, I'm a part of this. Like, I gotta do something.
But up next, our top-ranked qualifier, our defending gold medalist, simply put, the king of the streets, Nyjah Huston.
I watched Nyjah come onto the scene. Right out the gate was like, I'm glad I'm older than him, because when he gets into his prime, I'm gonna be like phasing out. I'm not gonna have to deal with this kid. And then, and it didn't work that way. Man, it like lit a fire under me, dude, because you just kept skating and you kept being there and you kept getting better, and it forced me to know that you were there, and I was like, I gotta try to keep up with Nyjah.
One of the most decorated street skaters of all time, Ryan Sheckler. Of course, he's the youngest gold medalist in X Games history.
Yeah, something I feel like me and you, Sheks, have a lot in common is like when we were in those younger years where we were winning a lot, like a lot of the fans and a lot of people see that and they're like, oh, like, of course, you're just gonna win again. He wins every time. But like, people don't understand that like, it wasn't easy wins. You know what I mean? It's like, it's close. It's a close battle every time.
But a lot of people just see it as like, oh, like, yeah, of course Nyjah won again. I'm just like, bro, pay attention. Like, it's not that easy, bro.
There is no one more dominant in skateboarding.
At the end of the day, you're here right now as the best skateboarder on the planet.
An unbelievable effort.
And that's not a coincidence, dude. Like, you put the work in. This didn't just happen to you. You did it. And it doesn't go unnoticed.
Wow.
It's just not fair.
Bro, you taught me so much about a competitive mind state, and I learned a lot from you, dude.
Same, bro. We had some great battles. Oh, yeah. Appreciate it. Hell yeah.
There's nobody out there in finals that I want to have a better day than all my competitors.
Deshaun Jordan, our current leader.
Respectfully, I want to beat you guys on your best day. Because I want you guys to have your best day. I want you guys to do great, and I'm gonna make sure I show my respect.
Deshaun Jordan winning gold.
I want everybody to succeed in their own way. But at the same time, I would be lying to you if I didn't go home and rethink my whole life and write down every single thing about each round, about what I could have done better and what the preparation looks like.
Jagger saving his best run for last. Can he close it out?
Told you.
Yes, he can.
And I'm so excited to pivot and change and get back in that final.
That's the best run we've seen from Jagger Eaton today.
The natural progression of where skateboarding is at right now is mind-blowing to me. Skateboarding is one of those things that just continuously keeps pushing the envelope and keeps getting gnarlier, keeps getting bigger, more technical. The gnarliest tricks that we were doing then, these are doing for warm-up tricks now. We've known that skateboarding is global. The just accessibility that the world has to skateboarding and to watching whatever they want to watch on a skateboard, like that bringing so many new people into skateboarding constantly, globally. I think it'll be insane. 2028, I think we're gonna see people that we've never even heard of before.
Facts. I don't even want to know what we're gonna see 5-10 years from now. What are the tricks gonna be like?
And our next skater to drop in happens to be our youngest.
There's a mentality to competitive skateboarding that you have to keep. You have to keep that fire if you want to stay where you're at, especially nowadays. It's so gnarly now.
What does Gene Wu do here?
I watch these contests from home, and I'm like, sometimes happy to be at home.
Dude.
Absolutely claim that. Gene Wu, remember the name.
The girls are just next level nowadays. Crook Nolly healing down Hubbas now, bro. What? I think about it like, look at what the girls are doing now compared to 5 years ago. It is crazy, bro. Like the progression is like over doubled, like double,
it's
triple.
A whole different,
flipping
like,
into rails. It's insane. The front people, front 180, Crook Nolly heel. Like they're doing tricks that like we could not land first try.
Facts. And like the board control is absolutely nuts at such a young age.
The judges have to take notice of that.
You gotta think like, not only, you know, are the women like skating, competing to be better, but in a way, they have something to prove, kind of. Like not in a way of like they're less than us, but when they come out there, they already know that this space is probably predominantly like a male sport or however, like they grew up watching skating, so they already come in with like the energy like, no, I can skate.
Here she is making her X Games debut at 11 years old.
Front lip on the big bro?
Not only do they gain inspiration from, you know, us on this side, but we do too. When we see those girls out there crook nollie healing or like falling, getting back up after the slam, like, that make you rethink like, bro, I gotta, what, like, she just ate that. Like, what am I doing over here? Like, what? Like, so but it's a beautiful thing because that's what's driving that progression.
You really like, you literally see the progression every contest.
It's insane.
X Games, summer, music, and you. That's right. Fans are back at X Games this summer in sunny Ventura, California, July 21st through 23rd.
X Games is now celebrating its 28th year, and what it takes to win has always been a delicate balance of control and execution. For the top riders in BMX, the formula is laid out for them. Seize the moment, bring something new to the table, and nail your run.
There's probably like 50 to 100 different goals or like marks that you have to hit before you finish the run, whether it's a contest or like a run in the backyard. Something for us that became second nature of dropping in. Once upon a time, that wasn't second nature. That was the goal. I want to drop in. And then now that's just how we get to the obstacle.
Dropping in after other incredible riders, it's super motivating, you know? It's like...
And that changes your run too. You see something that Kevin did, and you see the score come in, you're like, okay, well, this ain't gonna work. I'm gonna change this.
Woo, classic Sandoval.
It's not like anything against you or you or you. It's like, all right, they got that. I want to get better. You know,
You're feeding off of each other's energy. When it comes to a stage where you're even like, was that good enough?
Yeah,
What
absolutely.
can I? Because I've finished like a run that I've had in mind, and I'm like, oh, I could still change. We're so like perfectionists when it comes to riding because we put in so much time and hours into this.
Kevin Peraza, I love this line here. Big 360 invert.
I literally sit back and I'm like, you've been working so hard for this moment. You better enjoy this 1 minute. Just a little reminder of like where we came from, how we started. I dreamt about being here. I'm here now. I won already, you know? And it's like, whatever happens, happens, because it is a judge sport. It is an opinion. Yes, there is a criteria that they follow, but at the end of the day, like, your way of riding the course is going to be completely different to mine. Despite us competing against not only ourselves, but each other at events, it's like, it's all love at the end of the day. We're all here for each other. You come in with so much doubt and you're nervous and there's all this pressure coming along from winning the year before, but then you get that little reminder of, I've done it before, so I can do it again.
My motivation's pretty much always the same. Like, just like any rider, I think I like to push myself. I like the challenges.
For me, going into Japan, I didn't ride for 2 weeks before it because I have elbow injury. And for that moment, I just had my mouth guard in, and especially for the runs, I was like, just bite hard.
Oh my gosh.
The adrenaline started kicking in and the pain slowly went away. And it's funny because after every run, every best trick attempt, like I'm so stoked, I'm so happy. And then it'd kick in and you see me like fall forward, like hold my arm, like, okay, hold on.
I remember we'd be talking to ourselves like, there's no way his arm hurts.
We have such a short memory. When it comes back to it, it's like you can fail, 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 and then you're like, next day, like, all right, I'll come back and try it again. When you're riding a contest, you just try to put your mind to sleep. You feel like you're almost blacked out.
Tunnel vision, tunnel vision. I don't hear music,
Focus,
I don't hear
you can't hear
people.
anything. It's just, it's like a peaceful concentration, kind of zen mode.
Yeah.
All you're trying to do is land that first trick and just turn that brain off.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of the craziest tricks that I've landed have been in competition, and I don't know how I rolled away. But it's like that mode of the crowd, the energy in the park, wherever the standings are in the contest, that is enough for me to go into a different zone where you almost like black out and you're just rolling away.
The fans on their feet. Ryan, always a showman.
My brain snaps into tune and everything gets calm.
I feel like I've learned pretty good over the years of like trying to keep myself calm, breathing the right way before a contest and stuff. Transfer that like nervous energy into hype. I'm just trying to stay juiced instead of like thinking too much about having to land every trick or like everyone watching me or exactly what's going on. I just try to like stay in my own zone and just stay hyped up.
The first drop in, sometimes I find myself zoning out completely where it's like I tell the DJ to pick a song for me. I have the announcers hyping me up. I like feel up the crowd, and that to me has always been like something that like, all right, showtime, you know? It's like my time to shine. They give me the stage, front and center.
Well, that feeling, whether it's 3 runs, best 1 counts, or 2 runs, it's coming down to that moment, like, this, like the stress, and you got to turn your mind off. But then when it all pays off and you stick the run, that feeling is just the most addicting feeling. There's nothing that's better than that.
On June 6th, Pat Casey passed away doing what he loved, sessioning a backyard with friends. He was more than a pillar in the BMX community and an icon of X Games. He was and forever will be an influence and example of a great human being.
You know, me meeting Pat, he was already at the level that he was at. And just for me, it was like starstruck. We're close to the same age and was like, wow, this guy wasn't afraid of anything.
And he wasn't afraid of anything.
Proving the impossible to himself was always like his goal, just like slamming and not even complaining about the slam.
Nothing was impossible to him. It was just a new challenge.
He would just never give up, ever.
Like he always said it, like, I'd rather do this any day of my life than have to sit in an office or work for someone else and be miserable. To the very end, it was like that with him.
He had like, almost like, to me, like a signature face when he was really about to go for something. It was like,
He'd slam and I'd be like, dude, you gotta go higher, and he'd just look through you.
The hours that I've spent with Pat at that house and the work that he puts in.
It became so normal for him to have to work around the session where it's like, I'm a husband, I'm a father, and I have this crazy farm in place that I have to look after, and I still have to be a professional athlete. It's crazy to really like juggle all of that, you know?
And just watching how good he is with Reed and how much he loves Tatum and the work that he puts in with, you know, feeding the pigs and the chickens and the dogs and
his farm.
The Pat Casey farm. Like, he's got all this on his plate, and you'll never hear him complain.
He lived like 3 different lives.
He rode the Lightning. He was so gnarly on a pit bike, so gnarly on a dirt bike. Like, he was just good at everything.
he was friends with everyone at the contest. Like, everyone loved him just because he was the man.
He's had this like fantastic ability to kind of cross-pollinate everybody's lives, sponsorships. He was influencing mountain bike riders. He was influencing freestyle motorbike riders. He was influenced by skaters and street riders. He was just kind of like one guy for all the people.
X Games, summer, music, and you. That's right, fans are back at X Games this summer. Be part of 3 action-filled days in sunny Ventura, California. The best in BMX, skateboard, Moto X, and music. Right on the beach, July 21st through 23rd.
I'm sure we're all very hyped that X Games is back in Cali, coming up in a few weeks. Bring out the homies, bring out the fam. They've kept that classic run style format, and it makes you feel like you're skating just like an OG contest that you grew up watching. It really brings me back to like the good old days.
The mecca of action sports is California. All the freestyle motocross riders are inland. There's a bunch of skaters from here. BMX is hopping here, always has been. And X Games has such like, its DNA was Los Angeles.
Southern California is the mecca, the unlimited amount of skate parks, good street, good trails, backyard setups. And when they do X Games back in California, you bring back all those people, that whole community, the culture into the event. Or new faces, people that have never seen it, you know? It's like, because it's been gone from California for so long.
I got to see history being made over this psycho 10 years that it was in LA. It was so much bigger to me than skateboarding. Yes, I knew I was going there to compete, but I was so excited to go hang out with my other friends, and like, that's what X Games represented to me growing up.
I have a good feeling that Ventura is going to be an old style course.
You seen the course?
No, not yet. I haven't seen it.
I don't believe you.
You don't believe me?
I don't believe you.
You got up there with the California skate park guy.
No.
Be in that park every day.
But like, feel the energy about it. Like, feel the energy about bringing it back to Cali like it's the show.
It's such a big community with California because I feel like everyone does something outside of working, just like a job. I ride bikes, I go surfing, I do this, I do that. Like, it's gonna be great.
Action sports in California is everybody's like hobby.
California's been like the mecca of action sports. Skateboarding's inception was in LA. Everyone who lives here has either tried it or does it, even if not professionally, like just as something else to do.
Everyone's hobby in California is something action sport.
X Games has a very iconic history in California. So I think just that alone is really exciting to be back.
And that's what he wanted in that first hit. Huge on the flare tail whip.
I was just happy to be there. And like, I was like, damn, I'm here at X Games. Like, I could go only up from here.
You know, I got to come to another country, I got to build a life, I got to travel the world riding my bike, getting to make these relationships, and there's not many people out there that can say that.
I think experiences, relationships is super important. Like, it's not what we've learned through this, but what we've gained. Being able to travel the world and ride your bike is pretty insane, to say the least, like a dream, you know?
There's something really rad about winning a gold.
Ryan Sheckler, 13 years old. Incredible story in the making.
No matter how you get it or how many you've had, like, there's something about it.
Thank you. I love X Games so much because ever since I was little, X Games is the show. Like, it's the pinnacle of action sports.
That is such a hard trick.
It's absolutely unbelievable how long this has gone and how much fun we're still able to have on bicycles, on dirt bikes, and traveling the world with all of our best friends, all because someone took a gamble and said, hey, let's build these sports as actual sports. The pressure and the magnitude of X Games, it's so much crazier than anything you can possibly imagine.